It's time for the Matt Wyatt Show.
The guy who's the color commentator for Mississippi State football and SEC baseball.
So yeah, he brings a lot to the game, and he's right here.
Right now! Online at thezone1059.com and on your radio at ESPN 105.9 The Zone.
Hey, it's Friday! I ain't going to give you all the details just yet, but just a few minutes ago, the first thing out of JB's mouth when we talked to each other before the show, he says to me, well, he laughed at me at something I was doing, and then he said, it's Friday! Hallelujah, you've made it for another week. That means you are 1 day, 1 week closer to watching a little live football. Tackle football. And in fact, in the state of Mississippi, you got some live football tonight. And I'm not going to be there, but this MRA versus, what is it, Trinity Christian Academy? Is it Trinity Christian? Is that the name of it, JB?
Yes,
Something
I
like
believe
that.
So. Right outside of Dallas.
Yeah.
Those many, many suburbs.
The Deion School, the Deion Sanders School.
Yeah, I got that all day this morning at Live Oaks. We ended up closing. I got there early to open, and it was so wet from yesterday.
Yeah.
God, it came a frog strangler here. But they said, you're doing MRA's game tonight. And I went, well, I'm sitting at the board doing the game.
Right.
And they said, so you don't get to see Deion? I said, no, I don't want to see Deion. Go Patriots.
Yeah, go Pats. That's it. So if you're tuning in to this show live, if you listen live in the middle of the day here on 105.9 The Zone, WRKS, ESPN Jackson Central, Mississippi, you're going to hear on this station where you're hearing my voice right now, that ball game tonight with MRA. Pads popping. Caleb, you got it right. He says on Periscope in all caps. That's important, y'all, in today's world. In all caps. We gon' hear some pads popping. Not popping, popping. And I just have one little bit of encouragement for y'all to listen to this show for the next couple of hours. You better put on your seatbelt and get ready. As the JSU Sonic Boom would like to remind you, get ready, because it's going to be a fun ride. I don't know if you're going to have fun or not. I just know I am. I think you will. Come on! So, text me on the Country Pleasing text line, 885-ESPN. That's a 601 number, 885-ESPN. Call me on the Davini phone, 995-1059. That's a 601 number, 995-1059. Get ready! The JSU Sonic Boom. I don't care who you are, where you're from, which team you're rooting for to win the game. This is the best band anywhere. So, look, there is a lot to get to today. There's actually a ton of news, a ton of sports out there. And today, I personally only have 2 hours with you to cover it. Not 3, because I got to slip out and take care of something personal. So I'm with you for 2 hours here on the show today, not 3. We got to go quick. But first, a little more Sonic Boom. Big finish. Justin on YouTube says, whoop, whoop, JSU. Thanks for tuning in on the live stream, Periscope, Facebook, YouTube. Holler at me. Phew! If your fire isn't lit, your wood must be wet. Real quick, right out of the gates, 100 grand says, Matt, what's up? It's Friday. I'm feeling hella neck. You want to hear neck? Well, you got the closest thing to it, right? Like you got the Sonic Boom, you just didn't get neck. You got Get Ready, which is kind of their de facto fight song. A lot of times there for JSU, for the Sonic Boom. Real quick, Gator Nation on the Country Pleasing text line. He texted me at 885-ESPN. He said, Matt, did you hear that nonsense Adam Schefter was reporting that the NFL is considering doing a bubble once we get to the playoffs. That is so stupid. Play in your stadium all year, then do a bubble for the playoffs. I did hear that, Gator Nation. I understand that is supposed to be being discussed and considered, but listen, I think it's a backup plan. They won't say that. There are reasons they won't come out and say that or word it that way right now, but trust me, that's a backup plan. They will absolutely have the playoffs in the stadiums like normal if they can at that time, all right? Trust me on that. White and Denzel on the Country Pleasing text line. Fired up for the MRA game tonight. I am too. I think I can stream it online. I'm going to try to do that and listen to the call on 105.9 The Zone. Says we might have to fire the grill up as I watch the pay-per-view. Do this. Watch the pay-per-view and put the radio call on 105.9 The Zone. Go to thezone1059.com. That would behoove you.
And put some country pleasing on that grill.
Ooh. Country pleasing sausage. Guess what I ate for breakfast? Country pleasing sausage. Jalapeno and cheddar.
You hadn't finished that yet?
I did.
I figured you'd be on your second pack or something.
I'm on a new pack. The Homecoming Queen put in an order at Kroger the other day, and it's gotten to the point where I think the people at our local Kroger, they know us by first name basis now. And I think they just put jalapeno and cheddar in there. We don't even have to ask for it anymore. They're like, they want that. Yeah, he wants it. Put it in there.
So when you go to Kroger, it's like going to Cheers?
It kind of is. Hey, Norm.
That's cool. That's cool.
How's it going, Norm? Well, Sammy, it's a dog-eat-dog world, and I'm wearing milk-bone underwear. Thanks, Norm. Norm. All right, real quick. We are going to start today with an awesome Friday classic flashback to a game that I watched this morning that I'd forgotten about, and it was awesome. But first, Bobby on the Davini Equipment phone line, Davini Equipment in Madison and in Jackson. Bobby, what's up?
What's up, man?
Bobby who?
Bobby Hill, buddy.
Bobby,
what's going on?
What's up? I was wondering if that's you. How you doing?
Man, I'm good. How about yourself?
I'm doing great. It's good to hear your voice.
You too, bud. I was calling to say you're doing great things, man. I watch you sometimes. And did you hear about Rob Barnes?
I did hear about Rob. As a matter of fact,
yeah, it's sad.
It's sad. Did you, after getting to know him when you were playing indoor football, Bobby? For those listening, yeah. Bobby, who's on the Davini Equipment phone, he and I were teammates on an indoor football team, going on 20 years ago. Not quite, but we had a guy who was kind of our trainer, athletic trainer, but not a medical trainer, but helped speed training and everything else. A guy from Tupelo named Rob Barnes, a wonderful, wonderful man who passed away this past weekend due to COVID-19. I did hear about that, Bobby. Did you keep up with Rob and kind of stay in touch after you were done playing?
Well, yeah, a little bit. I hadn't talked to him probably in maybe a couple of years, but every time I went down, I tried to, get a hold of him. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. You didn't play with DC though, did you? Coach Carter?
Yeah, I did. Yes, I did play one year with Daryl, I think, yeah.
Right. So he actually kept in contact with him a lot. He was actually with him Wednesday, if I'm not mistaken.
Is that right?
So, yeah. So he actually called and let me know Thursday, if I'm not mistaken. It was
so he called you
Wednesday or Thursday.
Daryl Carter, who's the head coach at Shannon High School right now. And we've really been through it. Yeah, I hated to see that. I had gotten word that Rob passed away at home, but he fought coronavirus. Since July, I guess.
Yes, he has. Well, of course, he was a home remedy guy.
Mm-hmm.
DC and I were laughing because Daryl had a sciatic nerve problem.
Okay.
And we were at practice, and Rob bought some WD-40 there, and DC said, "Man, what are you gonna do with that?" He said, "Man," of course his favorite word was "fella." He said, "Fella, I'm gonna rub this right here on that nerve, and you're gonna be able to play." And no doubt, he rubbed that on there every day, and he was able to play. He said Rob told him that of course, Rob didn't do doctors, so he told him when the virus first came out, he said that he went and got some bee pollen from behind Tupelo High School. He went and got some bee pollen, and he gonna drink this bee. He gonna put this in some water, and he gonna put this bee pollen on him because it's going to boost his immune system.
Right.
He was not that guy to go to the doctor. But you talking about a man? He was trying to run. DC told me Tuesday. He said when he started feeling better that he was gonna start. He was gonna run some 300s. Rob still ran. He still, he still kind of stayed in shape.
How old was he?
DC told me 67, but they said 65.
But even 65, you look at, to know Rob here in Tupelo, again, a man who's a local coach, and for those listening, he was recently helping coach and train athletes at Tupelo Christian Preparatory School, TCPS here in that. And, to know him and to look at him, you'd honestly think he was 40 years old. He was in such phenomenal shape.
Oh yeah, and that's all the time. That man would call me when I first came down. Hey, you ready to go, fella? I'm like, where we going? Hey, fella, we gonna run. And man, he loved to start out with them 300s, but he's gonna run 300 meters. But Rob was a really good guy, and he treated everybody equal, no matter who they were. And no matter what they were, just a great all-around guy, man.
He really was. He sang in the Lane Chapel Quartet for as long as people knew him, and so it's really sad to lose him. I was just shocked because he was so healthy. He was one of those guys, Bobby, to think, like somebody put it on Twitter. They said, look, if this virus could get somebody like Rob Barnes, it could get anybody. And
it can, and
it's true.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true, man. Vitamins, anything. Rob, I remember Matt, were you with us when we went and played in Huntington our first year? Yeah,
I think so. Maybe it's hard to remember.
We lost to the midget, that linebacker. We went to Huntington on the sleeper bus, and Rob and Coach Pickard, we partied on the campus with I don't know if you went to the Marshall campus where if Randy Moss and Jason Williams was there, and man, Rob sang half the night, and the team moved the schedule up on us, and we got our butts whooped, man. I remember Russell had one catch, and Rob said, well, one thing about it is we had a darn good time out here.
Yeah, if you're going to get beat that bad, you might as well. I do remember that. We take a bus way off somewhere, overnight trip, and go up there and lose. And then it dawns on you, man, we got to ride that bus all the way back home, too.
All the way back.
And I had forgotten that Rob was on those bus trips with us as well. I think a lot of those bus trips, we tried to, erase it from our memory. A 20-hour bus trip is no fun. 20 hours one way. It's no fun whatsoever.
No, not at all.
Bobby, it's good to hear from you, man. I hope you'll call me again someday.
You too. I will, buddy. I will, man. I love you.
You too.
And you have a good day, man.
You too, Bobby.
All right, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bobby Hill. Bobby's a great defensive back. We played some indoor football together on a team here in Mississippi. Again, this has been probably 20 years ago. And the man that he was talking about was, like you say, he was kind of you say athletic trainer and people get the idea that we're talking about somebody taping ankles and, so that's not the right word. He helped to train guys strength and conditioning. I guess that's what you would call him, like a strength and conditioning coach. For those, that's how I got to know him. But the thing is, Rob Barnes here in Tupelo, he worked with young athletes for as long as I can remember. Speed training, flexibility, strength, and then recently was on the staff at private school here in Tupelo, Mississippi, Tupelo Christian Prep. They call it here for short. Everybody calls it TCPS. And this past week, the head coach there, Sean Holliday, put it out on Facebook that he had gotten COVID in July and succumbed to the virus this past week. He was 65 years old. And, he was great guy. Outstanding singer. Yeah, he and a bunch of guys here locally. It was 4. They called it the Lane Chapel Quartet. So I'm going to miss seeing him. And he really was. Rob kind of knew everybody here in town. Everybody knew Rob. You couldn't be around here involved in any kind of sports without coming in contact with Rob and getting to know him some way, which we all did. And you picture him smiling. He was always smiling. He was always happy. He was always willing to help, full of energy. And so we're going to miss him. I think the whole community is really shocked that we lost him. But good to hear from an old teammate, Bobby Hill. Y'all can be like Bobby. Everybody can hear your voice. Y'all call me on the Davini Equipment phone line. Davini Equipment in Madison and in Jackson, your Kubota dealer. The oldest Kubota dealer in the U.S., 995-1059, 601 number, 995-1059. Coming up in about, about 7 minutes from right now, I'm going to hit the button, and we're going to have a flashback to Johnny Football. We've been doing these flashbacks, these classic games. And I don't know, the random memories that pop up is the way I've kind of thought of these. We kind of relived that one season of Cam Newton from back in 2010 one day this week. And we did it by going and looking at that unbelievable comeback in the Iron Bowl in 2010 for him. But then this one popped up today. Do y'all remember what Johnny Football did in 2012 in Tuscaloosa?
Oh, yes.
Do y'all remember that?
Of course, he had 2 of the best receivers in the country.
Right.
That always helps when you got somebody that can throw it, to have somebody who can catch it.
Well, and he had, 3 NFL offensive linemen, including one who's been like an all-pro every year he's been in the NFL for Atlanta. The team,
Matthews?
Yeah, Matthews. They were loaded. That A&M team that year in 2012 was loaded. But, of course, Johnny Manziel. And I think what it is because of everything that happened after college for Johnny Manziel, I think because of that, the memory of what that was like when Johnny Football sprung to life back in 2012 and he won the Heisman, the memory of that is now kind of glazed over, fogged over. When you go back and you watch what those games looked like with him playing in that offense that year, it's just as unbelievable now as it was when it was happening. And it's still kind of hard to figure out, why couldn't something work for him in pro football? But anyway, we're going to relive that because the calls from that game in Tuscaloosa in 2012 are awesome. And remembering kind of how that game went and the whole scenario was awesome. So we're going to jump into that in a few minutes. Now we're down to that'll be about 6 minutes or so from right now. Maybe give or take a few seconds here or there. I want to remind you of something here. Yesterday, as you know, the governor of the state of Mississippi, Tate Reeves, came out. This was at the end of our show yesterday. That you're not going to have tailgating. That kind of stuff not going to happen. You will have a maximum allowed capacity in football stadiums in Hattiesburg, Oxford, and Starkville of 25% capacity. So, 15, 16,000, give or take a few in Starkville and Oxford, and whatever the, 25% of whatever the capacity is in Hattiesburg. So you can have those. The no tailgating thing, that's kind of tough, but what I feel like is when people want to eat, they're going to eat. No, you're not going to have the big crowds, which it really is a spectacle on these campuses. You have these huge crowds of people just tailgating all beside each other. You're not going to have that. But they're not going to be there anyway getting in the game. You're going to be such a limited capacity. So I guarantee you what's going to happen. People are going to listen to the games on the radio more than they ever have. They're going to watch the games on TV and pair it up with the radio broadcast more than they ever had. John, they're going to do it in their backyards. They're going to do it in their neighborhoods, around the pool.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
People are going to have some get-togethers. The duck camp, they're going to grill out, and they're going to do it right there where they are. They're still going to tailgate. It just won't be right outside the stadium. Hey, but did you see this? So, like, after you and I talked yesterday on the show, JB, right after it, Tate Reeves tweeted out. He tweeted, masks will be required whenever you're walking around, entering or exiting a stadium, basically at all times, unless you're sitting in your seat away from everyone else. He tweeted, I know this will not be popular, but there will be no game day social gatherings around the stadiums, rallies, parties, tailgates. It's no fun, but it's what allows the athletes to play. I'd still rather be in the SEC with no tailgates than the Pac-12 or Big Ten with no football.
Yeah, Brooksy and B were talking about it, and Brooks said that when he read it, he didn't take it like it was a zinger. He just thought, okay, it's just the governor's state, his position. But other people were going. Yes.
Well, leave it to the legitimate story-starved national media to say that he's throwing a shot across the bow at those conferences. I mean, what does the governor of the state of Mississippi have to do with him anyway? Nothing. But so I'm like Chris, I didn't really take it as a zinger, but I guess I could see how some people might want to take it that way. But really what he's saying is, don't complain about not having tailgates or not being able to tailgate outside the stadium, because that's part of the reason we're able to play games at all, is because we're not going to do stuff like that. You'd rather have football in the SEC without tailgates. Just look at these people around you. They're not even playing ball. I mean, I think that's what he was saying. It wasn't that he was taking a direct shot at those. But he sure made some headlines with it, didn't he?
There's a lot of noise when it comes to 5G.
We're 5G ready. We're 5G-ish.
Farm Bureau Insurance stands ready to provide financial relief to our communities in this time of crisis. This includes a one-time credit to all personal auto policyholders, a donation of $500,000 to the Mississippi Food Network, and additional payment options for those hit the hardest, all while continuing to service customer claims as well. But this is the time to go above and beyond. These are a few ways we're keeping the Farm Bureau promise. To learn more, talk to your agent or visit us online. Go with the home team.
Every farmer understands their farm can't thrive without some good partners like sun, soil, and rain. And farmers in North Mississippi also rely on another important partner, Mississippi Land Bank, because land and farm financing are Mississippi Land Bank's primary focus. We've grown alongside these farmers' crops for more than 100 years. We understand what a farmer needs, and we know the lay of the land in North Mississippi, and that's where I stand.
Bull. There's a lot of that out there in the wireless world. But C Spire believes that you deserve a plan that is what it actually says it is. Here's the real deal. The best plan for 1 or 2 lines. Unlimited talk and text with 10 gigabytes of high-speed data. And here's the real deal. $45 per line with auto pay and paperless billing. Even without auto pay, it's just $50. Now, how's that for the fine print? No bull. That's the real deal. Switch to C Spire today at cspire.com/real deal. C Spire, customer inspired. Man, that sounds like summertime in Mississippi, doesn't it? You know what else just screams summertime in Mississippi? Country pleasing sausage from Country Meat Packers in Florence. Check me out. Jalapeno and cheddar. Just got it at Kroger in Tupelo where I live. On grocery store shelves throughout the Southeast. Cut it up, throw it in the frying pan. Put it on a bun. Get some andouille, make some gumbo. It is the best sausage you've ever put in your mouth. Country Pleasin' sauce. It's countrypleasin.com. It is made up of hand-picked hams, bacon, and pork loin. That's why it tastes so good. I even got this cool hat from them. Check them out. Go by the butcher shop there in Florence, or order it online, or look for it in grocery stores. Walk up in there and say, Country Pleasin', please.
A lot of people in the equipment world, things kind of go in trends, I guess, if you want to say it. So kind of the first big thing for 2020 that we look at when we start evaluating our business is going to be our turf equipment. That's kind of the first big push, because once everything, the water dries up and the grass starts growing, this is what everybody's looking to get. We carry the new Wright stand-up mower. Doesn't look like much and it's dirty as all get out. But this thing is, and it costs just as much as zero turn. Not a cheap unit at all. I mean, if you go out there and look at that zero turn, this thing right here, I mean, it's got all your components from your big pumps to your commercial engine to your large steel deck. And these guys were the first.
Online at 1059.com and on your radio at ESPN 105.9 The Zone.
Back with you. Let's waste no time. Jump back over here to the phone line real quick. Davini Equipment phone. Davini Equipment in Madison and in Jackson. John's been hanging on for a little bit. Hey, John, thanks for calling. What's up?
Hey, Matt. Listen, I just got a question. You mentioned a minute ago about folks watching the game but listening to the radio feed or broadcast. Mm-hmm. With HD stuff and all the streaming options and all that now, the timing gets really off. Is there anything to do if I want to listen on the radio to have a little bit better sync between the radio broadcast and what I'm getting on video?
Yes. I tell you what I'm going to do, John, and I am embarrassed that I don't know it off the top of my head, but there is some service out there that helps people with that. And by help, I mean, I think it's as simple as, like, it's a website you go to, you sign up, and they actually send you a piece of equipment. You can buy it if you want to. And the only way I kind of know that is Richard Williams was telling me that one night. I was at a basketball game, and it was before it started. I'm standing there talking to Neil Price and Richard Williams before their broadcast, and I brought it up about that. And he said, here's what you need to do. And he told me what it was. And right now I stand here and I cannot remember what it is. So just know this, John. There are things out there that will do it. You might just kind of get in there, Google it, see if you can find something out there with syncing your radio to the broadcast. And if I can text somebody here in the next hour or so and find out, I'll try to put it out here and maybe tweet about it. But if I can,
I'll keep an eye out for that.
Yeah, if I can find the details, I will definitely talk about those details leading up to the start of the season, so that maybe I can catch you at some point and fill you in on it. I'm sorry I don't have the answer for you right now, though.
That's all right. I'm glad to know that there is a solution. I'll track it down.
Yeah, there's a solution, and I think there's the good old deal of every now and then having to go through it and sync it yourself by, like, pausing the TV on the DVR and try to catch it up to the radio. And sometimes that works, and as you know, sometimes it can kind of get out of sync. Now, hey, let me give you something here to look at. This might be a solution. Caleb, who's listening to the show, watching the live stream on Periscope, and Caleb's a friend of mine. He's in radio himself. He calls high school games and has hosted shows, and Caleb's actually hosted this show with me before. And he just sent me a link called syncmygame.com. Let me make sure I'm looking at this right. Yeah, Sync My Game. It's a website. It's from Learfield, which is the rights holder, Learfield IMG College. Mm-hmm. And if you go to that, maybe there's some help there. Try that also, syncmygame.com. See if that'll help you. And if I find any other details, I'll pass them along.
That's great. Thanks a lot.
Yeah,
I
man.
appreciate it.
Yeah,
Enjoy the show.
Yep. Thank you very much, John. Thanks for hanging on. Sync My Game. This is, all right, so Learfield IMG College, the rights holder for all these schools, including State and Ole Miss. It says, do you have a DVR or similar device? Do you have a smart speaker or Bluetooth-enabled speaker? Do you have a Bluetooth-capable streaming device, like a smartphone, a tablet, or a laptop? If yes to those questions, you can, it says, listen to your favorite broadcasters while watching the game from the comfort of your living room. Instructions. Simply mute your television audio and pause the game on your DVR at the opening kickoff or any other specific play. Open the app or head to your audio streaming source of choice. Wait for the audio to catch up to the point in which the DVR was paused. When these two moments line up, unpause your DVR, and then it says success. I have done that before, and it works. I've done that a lot for basketball, and it really works. Hey, JB, Annie just brought Lady in here to see me in my studio.
Oh, goodness. Good thoughts right there, man. Good thoughts.
Yeah, she. So the people on the live stream can actually see. Look, Lady, see? There she is. Yeah, little lady. She's kind of nervous. The lights make her nervous. Yeah, I think Lady's going to be okay. I think Annie gave me a thumbs up, so maybe everything's going to be cool. We'll see.
Awesome.
Yeah, we'll see on that. All right, so there you go, John. Maybe that'll work. Syncmygame.com. Check that out. If we can find something else, we'll pass that along. Okay. All right. So Coach Shanks knows what we're talking about here?
Absolutely. He's holding on.
Let's do it. The Davini Equipment phone line. My man, Coach Shanks.
How you doing?
Hey, how are you?
Doing okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
I'm in a little, we got an old coaches luncheon group, which Richard's in.
Uh-huh.
And he was telling me about it, and I went ahead and bought one. It's real simple. It's called Sports Sync, S-Y-N-C. You just type it in. It's a little radio.
Okay.
Costs about $100, and it's great. Because I'm going to tell you what, the play-by-play guy we got at State is fantastic. And that's coming from somebody that thinks Jack Crystal is, the best ever. But the guy that does the play-by-play at State is really excellent.
Yeah,
and
I
in
agree.
basketball, it's really good. Because in basketball, they just get, it's just awful.
Mm-hmm.
And anyway, you got Richard Williams there who knows what he's talking about. It's really good. And it's, it's about $100, I think, if I recall.
And absolutely worth it. Okay. All right. Coach Shanks, listen, thank you so much. And don't hang up. Don't hang up. John, if you're listening, I hope you're still listening, John. If he's not, y'all pass this along to John, some of you that know him. I just went, Coach, to the website you're talking about, and this is it. This is exactly what Coach Williams was telling me about. All right, sportsyncradio.com. So if y'all are listening, here's the web address, and I'll tweet it out for you. On Twitter, I'm Radio Wyatt. It's sportsyncradio.com. It's a little device, matches the radio play-by-play to your television. It says easy to use. It can solve up to a full minute of delay between broadcasts. So, Coach Shanks, you've actually got one of these. You bought it for $100 and are using it?
Yeah, yes. It's just unbelievable. It's a little radio. It's what it is. A little like an old little portable radio.
Uh-huh.
And it takes you have to learn how to sync it. But once you sync it just right, you may take 2 or 3 little seconds to get it right, 5 or 10 minutes. But once you get it right, you're hooked in, and you're right with them.
So it's basically what you're using there is a, like you said, it's a little radio, the device itself. But I'm looking at it here.
Put the radio right by you. I just turn the TV down and listen to the radio.
Okay. So you're basically bypassing the streaming service. So, for example, John, if you're in, which you probably are, you called here the show. So, John, you're probably in the 105.9 WRKS, the zone in Jackson, Central Mississippi listening area. Well, with this thing, radio, you just tune it to 105.9 because the games are on this station. And then what Coach Shanks and what this website says is it gives you the instructions on how to, you hit a button or two and you sync it, the radio with the TV broadcast. And once it's synced, you're done. You just sit it beside there and listen until your little heart's content.
That's exactly right. And it runs on batteries. I mean, I think you can plug it in too, but it runs on flashlight batteries, so you can take it with you.
Yeah. Well, and it also says it has an alarm clock with a sleep and a snooze. So if you're watching a boring game, it'll wake you up.
That's all beyond me. I just use it for the state games.
Yeah. And what's cool about it too, I'm reading about it. It says it has a home theater option. So like a lot of people in their man cave or on their back porch or wherever they watch games, they've also got, a sound system with speakers tied to it. That's kind of where they have an increased sound. And this thing will actually send it to that via Bluetooth if that's what you want to do. So anyway, this looks like it may be a real solution. It does cost about $100, but I think for people who are going to watch and listen to a lot of games, that's absolutely worth it. Yeah, very cool.
It, once you learn how to work it a little bit, it's not a big problem at all. I think it's a great deal. Richard told me about it, and I bought it right after that. And we have lunch together about every Tuesday. It's off and on sometimes because of the virus things, but a bunch of old coaches.
Right.
And he's really excellent. I'm going to tell you, he's really good, man.
Oh, look, that radio broadcast of basketball with he and Neil Price, we were talking about Neil yesterday, and maybe I am biased, but I'm just telling you, there's no doubt. Like from the listener perspective, Neil is really good. And when you get him and Coach Williams together on a basketball game, shoot, man, it just isn't any better.
Yeah, Richard will get on him a little bit too, which I kind of enjoy.
Yeah.
He gets back into his old days of coaching. So,
right.
But I enjoy it. He's a good guy, and Neil is excellent. That's a great hire for Mississippi State. He loves Mississippi State, and he knows so much about state. You'd swear he went to school there.
The guy has worked really hard to learn as much as he could in a short period of time. Look, I bet you and Coach Williams and these coaches sitting around the dinner table, I bet that's an interesting lunch once a week.
Well, it is. If you're ever in the Jackson area on a Tuesday, we eat every Tuesday out at Fat Tuesdays. That's how we remember. We get but Hill Denson kind of heads it up.
Okay.
And we got a bunch of old coaches in there, and the line will start pretty regularly about 11:30.
Okay. Well, I'm going to come join y'all one of these days. I'd love to see you.
Well, that'd really be good. That'd be nice. You'd enjoy it. There's some interesting folks there, and Denson is an interesting person. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
And he's had a great career, but he's an interesting guy.
He sure is. Hey, Coach Shanks, thanks so much. Good to hear from you. Call me
we
anytime.
enjoy the show.
Thank you. Coach Doug Shanks.
That man is iconic when it comes to baseball in the metro area and in Mississippi.
He really is. I remember when he was a coach
Denson
at Valley.
Wasn't too bad himself.
Yeah. Understatement of the day there, JB. Attaboy. I appreciated that. Cool moment on the show. It's always fun to hear from Coach. So it's sportsyncradio.com. Stick around.
There's a lot of noise when it comes to 5G.
We're 5G
Farm
ready.
Bureau Insurance
We're 5G
stands ready to provide financial relief to our communities in this time of crisis. This includes a one-time credit to all personal auto policyholders, a donation of $500,000 to the Mississippi Food Network, and additional payment options for those hit the hardest, all while continuing to service customer claims as well. But this is the time to go above and beyond. These are a few ways we're keeping the Farm Bureau promise. To learn more, talk to your agent or visit us online. Go with the home team.
Every farmer understands their farm can't thrive without some good partners like sun, soil, and rain. And farmers in North Mississippi also rely on another important partner, Mississippi Land Bank, because land and farm financing are Mississippi Land Bank's primary focus. We've grown alongside these farmers' crops for more than 100 years. We understand what a farmer needs, and we know the lay of the land in North Mississippi, and that's where I stand.
Bull. There's a lot of that out there in the wireless world. But C Spire believes that you deserve a plan that is what it actually says it is. Here's the real deal. The best plan for 1 or 2 lines. Unlimited talk and text with 10 gigabytes of high-speed data. And here's the real deal. $45 per line with auto pay and paperless billing. Even without auto pay, it's just $50. Now, how's that for the fine print? No bull. That's the real deal. Switch to C Spire today at cspire.com/real deal. C Spire, customer inspired. Man, that sounds like summertime in Mississippi, doesn't it? You know what else just screams summertime in Mississippi? Country Pleasing sausage from Country Meat Packers in Florence. Check me out. Jalapeno and cheddar. Just got it at Kroger in Tupelo where I live. On grocery store shelves throughout the Southeast. Cut it up, throw it in the frying pan. Put it on a bun. Get some andouille, make some gumbo. It is the best sausage you've ever put in your mouth. Country Pleasing sausage, countrypleasing.com. It is made up of hand-picked hams, bacon, and pork loin. That's why it tastes so good. I even got this cool hat from them. Check them out. Go by the butcher shop there in Florence, or order it online, or look for it in grocery stores. Walk up in there and say, Country Pleasing, please.
A lot of people in the equipment world, things kind of go in trends, I guess, if you want to say it. So kind of the first big thing for 2020 that we look at when we start evaluating our business is going to be our turf equipment. That's kind of the first big push, because once the water dries up and the grass starts growing, this is what everybody's looking to get. We carry the new Wright stand-up mower. Doesn't look like much, and it's dirty as all get out. But this thing is, and it costs just as much as zero turn. Not a cheap unit at all. I mean, if you go out there and look at that zero turn, this thing right here, I mean, it's got all your components from your big pumps to your commercial engine.
And it's streaming right now online at thezone1059.com and on your radio on ESPN 105.9. The Zone. And go.
Rolling along with you here on the show, I'm Matt in the Farm Bureau studio. Farm Bureau, go with the home team, Farm Bureau Insurance, your hometown heroes here in the state of Mississippi. Farm Bureau. Give me a call, shoot me a text, tweet me, all that kind of stuff. Text me on the text line 885-3776, 885-3776. That's a 601 number. Call me on the Davini phone, 995-1059. 601 number also. Bill in Madison, thanks for the compliment. He said, Neil is good, but you are too, Matt. I like to think we're a good team. I tell you, a quarterback on your team like Neil Price is the quarterback of our broadcast team. You get a quarterback like that, it's a whole lot easier to have a good team. It's a whole lot easier for everybody to do their job. You got a guy like that kind of driving the bus. And you know what, Bill? That is a perfect segue. That's a perfect segue over here to our flashback of a game that happened, a classic flashback on a Friday, of a game that happened in 2012. Texas A&M had a heck of a quarterback named Johnny Football. Let's relive a little bit of it, huh? Why not? It's our show. JB, it's our show. We can do what we want.
It's our show, but it's got your name on it, so you can push any button you want.
So what you're saying is, not only
you're the
man. You're the man, man. I'm gonna try to pull up the box score from that game. You're saying not only can I do whatever I want, but I'm also responsible for anything that happens. See, there's two ways to look at this.
Well, it depends on if you got any kind of a politician in you.
Yeah.
Because then you can do what you want, just blame somebody else.
Well, let me just say this. That's exactly right. Blaming someone else. And that old saying, if you're scared, say you're scared. Look, to a fault, I'm not really afraid. Okay? I'm just not scared. All right, so here we go. Flashback to 2012. This is what it sounded like. You talk about a build-up. This right here is the way it's supposed to be done on TV, y'all. This was Uncle Vern building it up.
And we welcome you to Bryant-Denny Stadium in Tuscaloosa on the campus of the University of Alabama. Fresh from their thrilling victory last week, the top team in the country, the Crimson Tide of Alabama. And the Aggies of Texas A&M come to Tuscaloosa for the first time ever. And they come as members of the Southeastern Conference. So many ties between these two football universities that we will develop throughout the afternoon. Take a look at the SEC West. Alabama's on top, undefeated. If they win, they clinch the West.
How about that build-up? Complete with the A&M band playing as the team runs out onto the field. Remember this? Heisman candidate Johnny Football. Here he is, running out onto the field against undefeated Alabama, number 1 in the country. They just beat LSU the week before. Do y'all remember A.J. McCarron the week before when they beat LSU? Threw a touchdown pass on a screen to T.J. Yeldon. And after the game, McCarron ran around the field and hugged people and cried real tears like they had just won the national championship. But not so fast, my friend. A&M comes to Tuscaloosa the next week. A&M took the football to start the ball game. Actually, I think they forced a punt. But they took the football on their first possession. Went 9 plays, 73 yards, and punched it in.
There's Manziel under center, second and goal. Michael, injury-prone running back, is in for the touchdown. And for the 10th game this season, the Aggies score first.
7-zip. A&M in Tuscaloosa. 10 minutes left in the first quarter. Force a punt, 3 and out. Get the football back. It took them 4 plays.
4-man Alabama rush. Got him. No, they didn't. Oh, my gracious.
Yep.
How about that?
Can't teach that, can you? And you can't defend that.
Remember what he did?
Thanks, Gary Danielson, Captain Obvious right there.
Can't defend that. Do you remember that play, though? That's when they're down there in the red zone after they'd had a big play down in the red zone. And he starts to run, and then he runs into his own guy, decides, I'm going to peel out of here, but then bobbled the football, turns around, catches it, flips around, and throws it to a wide-open receiver in the end zone. Touchdown. 14-0. 100,000 Alabama fans are going, what?
Sandlot football. That's what I kept thinking watching him play.
Exactly. That's what it was. And they weren't done there. We're still in the first quarter. Next possession for Alabama, what happened? A.J. McCarron throws one in the middle of the field. Guy gets hit as he tries to catch it, pops up in the air. Interception. They get the football. It took them 14 plays and 6 minutes off the clock.
Blitz. Manziel, watch out. Boy, when he gets out of the pocket, no holds barred.
After further review, the runner did cross the plane. Touchdown.
And get this, they're going to go up 3 touchdowns, right? 21-0. Nope, they missed the extra point. It's 20-0. 15th ranked Aggies at number 1 in undefeated Alabama after the first quarter. First quarter belonged to Texas A&M. Second quarter, here comes the Crimson Tide.
Lacey, left side. Lacey leaning. Lacey's in. Touchdown, Alabama.
20-7. They cut the lead after a 13-play touchdown drive and an extra point. T.J. Yeldon punched it in. They get another stop, get the football back late, just before halftime. Put a 4-minute drive together.
And off Yeldon. Touchdown, Alabama.
It's 20-14 at halftime. Third quarter. Neither team really could do a whole lot in the third quarter, but Alabama got a field goal. It's a 3-point game. They go in the fourth quarter. A&M kicks a field goal, makes it 23-17, fourth quarter. Here comes Johnny Manziel.
Manziel comes left side. Ball wobbles. It's caught. Touchdown. Malcolm Kennedy.
Touchdown A&M with 8 minutes left in the ballgame. They extend their lead to 29-17. Extended to 29-17. Went for two, didn't get it. Alabama was not done.
McCarron's got Cooper. Cooper's got a foot race. Cooper has a touchdown.
6 minutes left in the game after the Amari Cooper 54-yard touchdown reception. It's 29-23. They kick the extra point, make it 29-24. Alabama had one last chance. Drove the football down deep into Texas A&M territory. A chance to score the winning touchdown at the end of the fourth quarter.
1:47 to go, fourth and goal. McCarron will throw it. It's intercepted. DeShazer Everett at the goal line.
Alabama was really running their two-point play. This is the one they saved. They were trying to pick, but Everett did not get picked on the play. Sneaking out this guy and trying to get him to the flat. Everett says no way.
Right at a minute left in the ball game, they're on the goal line, about to score the winning touchdown. They run what Gary Danielson described as a two-point play. It's a pick play. The outside receiver comes in, inside goes out. They're trying to pick the defender. The Shazer Everett read it, jumped it the whole way, intercepted. It was the second interception of the ball game from McCarron, and that ended it. And a close game, 29-24. After, as we said, A&M with 3 touchdowns in the first quarter, they go up 20-0. They're outscored 24-9 the rest of the way, but held on and won the ball game. Knocked off number 1 Alabama. It was Alabama's only loss that year, a week after they had beaten LSU, and everybody went ahead and crowned them, if y'all remember that. Manziel finished that game throwing the ball 24 of 31, 253 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. He ran the ball in that game 18 times for 92 yards. Didn't have a rushing touchdown, but had some big ones. Had a long run of 32. You know, Johnny Manziel in that game had some plays, including the second touchdown, the little spin around, bobble the ball that we talked about. It was just like JB said it perfectly. It was like backyard football.
4-man Alabama rush. Got him. No, they didn't. Oh, my gracious.
Yep.
How about that?
Can't teach that, can you? And you can't defend that.
He had that play as iconic. It really elevated him, I think, as much as anything else. Into winning the Heisman.
That play to me was the curly shuffle.
It's kind of like it. Man, it's just, it was an iconic play. And he started that ball game. He was 16 of his first 17 pass attempts. He finished 24 of 31, but 16 for his first 17. So he started the game as hot as you can start. And that big lead early on is what, allowed them to hang on and win the ball game. You look at the website Winsipedia, go to winsipedia.com. You can look at the matchup between all-time of Alabama A&M. A&M has beaten them twice in history. They've only played 12 times. That was one of them. Prior to that, they beat them back in 1968. Since then, by the way, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 straight wins since then for Alabama over Texas A&M. Saban doesn't forget. Hour 2 coming up. Stick around. Campuses are empty. The arenas are silent. For now. people here today are few and far between. But soon, a crowd will show up. It's not a matter of if football will be played here. It's a matter of when.
I'll be there. I'm sure you will be too. I'll see you there.
It won't be long now. Can you imagine the return of the crowds to see the return of the team? What a day that will be. And it will be soon.
Farm Bureau Insurance stands ready to provide financial relief to our communities in this time of crisis. This includes a one-time credit to all personal auto policyholders, a donation of $500,000 to the Mississippi Food Network, and additional payment options for those hit the hardest, all while continuing to service customer claims as well. But this is the time to go above and beyond. These are a few ways we're keeping the Farm Bureau promise. To learn more, talk to your agent or visit us online. Go with the home team.
Every farmer understands their farm can't thrive without some good partners like sun, soil, and rain. And farmers in North Mississippi also rely on another important partner, Mississippi Land Bank, because land and farm financing are Mississippi Land Bank's primary focus. We've grown alongside these farmers' crops for more than 100 years. We understand what a farmer needs, and we know the lay of the land in North Mississippi, and that's where I stand.
Bull. There's a lot of that out there in the wireless world. But C Spire believes that you deserve a plan that is what it actually says it is. Here's the real deal. The best plan for 1 or 2 lines. Unlimited talk and text with 10 gigabytes of high-speed data. And here's the real deal. $45 per line with auto pay and paperless billing. Even without auto pay, it's just $50. Now, how's that for the fine print? No bull. That's the real deal. Switch to C Spire today at cspire.com/real deal. C Spire, customer inspired. Man, that sounds like summertime in Mississippi, doesn't it? You know what else just screams summertime in Mississippi? Country Pleasin' sausage from Country Meat Packers in Florence. Check me out. Jalapeno and cheddar. Just got it at Kroger in Tupelo where I live. On grocery store shelves throughout the Southeast. Cut it up, throw it in the frying pan. Put it on a bun. Get some andouille, make some gumbo. It is the best sausage you've ever put in your mouth. Country Pleasin' sausage, countrypleasin.com. It is made up of hand-picked hams, bacon, and pork loin. That's why it tastes so good. I even got this cool hat from them. Check them out. Go by the butcher shop there in Florence, or order it online, or look for it in grocery stores. Walk up in there and say, Country Pleasin', please.
lot of people in the equipment world, things kind of go in trends, I guess, if you want to say it. So kind of the first big thing for 2020 that we look at when we start
at
evaluating.
thezone1059.com and on your radio at ESPN 105.9 The Zone.
All right, thanks for tuning in. Hour 2 of the show, off and running with you on this Friday. I'm Matt Wyatt in the Farm Bureau studio. Farm Bureau, go with the home team. They are your home team. Farm Bureau Insurance across the great state of Mississippi. Y'all text me, call me. Love to hear from you. What are you going to do? Y'all going to tune in to a little football tonight? Watch it, listen to it, so on and so forth. As I've told you, if you're listening to this show live on 105.9 The Zone, Jackson, Central Mississippi, you'll have the broadcast of the MRA game tonight versus the school from out in Texas that Deion Sanders' son plays on. Deion coaches. You'll get that broadcast tonight. I think I'm going to tune in. Definitely stream it. I'll probably just stream it because I can stream all the shows and everything from The Zone on the iHeart app on my phone from C Spire. So that's what I use. I just open up the iHeart app, type in 105.9 The Zone, and boom! As John Madden would say, I'm off. And I can listen. That's probably what I'll do. Be interested to hear, JB, on Monday, if we get to hear from anybody that went to a game. I'm sure we will have that chance. And just kind of see what it's like, Curious.
We had a couple of callers just calling in for some general information. A couple of them wanted to go to the game, and they didn't realize that you had to have somebody playing or somebody in the band, or you'd be the spouse or of a coach or whatever.
Yeah, 2 family members each.
Yeah, 2 family members each, and that'd been tough back when my kids were playing because my parents came to just about all the games. My wife's dad was there, so we continue to feel the ripple effects.
No doubt. Caleb texts me on the Country Pleasing text line at 885-ESPN. That is a 601 number, 885-ESPN or 885-3776. He texts me to tell me that Louisiana Monroe has suspended football due to a rise in COVID cases. They were supposed to start their season against Troy on Saturday, September the 5th. I also saw, Caleb, on Twitter, Saltillo High School. They're a 4A school in Lee County here in North Mississippi, just outside of Tupelo. I mean, Saltillo and Tupelo is kind of like the same place, honestly. But Saltillo High School is having to cancel a jamboree and maybe even their first game, I think, because of an outbreak of positive tests. Here it is. Brad Locke of the Northeast Mississippi Daily Journal, he put it on Twitter. Saltillo's football team is quarantining until September the 4th due to some players testing positive for COVID-19. Scrimmage versus Kossuth and the season opener versus Itawamba AHS are canceled. And that's according to Brad Locke. Someone else. Okay, so Kent Mahundro, who covers news and sports for the Daily Corinthian, he's in Corinth, said that they had an outbreak on the Saltillo High School football team and that the whole team is quarantined. The whole thing. So we're going to see some of that. There's just no way around it. You get positive tests with this thing and no vaccine at this point. It's going to happen.
Well, related to that, I'm reading a headline now. Came out at 11:58, right before we came on the air, that MSU corner Tyler Williams has opted out because of COVID.
Okay. And I had seen, I think it was in Mike Leach's press conference back on Tuesday, so his first Zoom press conference after practice number 1, and he had a question about Tyler Williams, and I think it was him, one of the coaches, but I think it was him who said, yeah, well, he's not here. But so you got one opt-out already. You may have others at places, and hey, look, that's just where we are. None of this, all this stuff, sports and figuring it out and inching towards it and little things here and there that, teams can do and to play the games. We're happy about that. You're going to get to watch it on TV as opposed to go to the game and tailgate. Okay, you can live with that if it all happens. But if they decide a game doesn't need to happen, or if a player decides he doesn't need to play, or if a coach decides he doesn't need to coach, we just live with it, don't we? I think we're to a point now where there shouldn't be any of that, an opt-out, a cancellation, a postponement, quarantining a team who's had some positive tests. I think we're past the point of having a big, really emotional reaction to any of that. At least I think we are. At least I know I am. I'm past an emotional reaction to that stuff. Earlier today, Mark Schlabach, ESPN.com, the SEC has expanded its coronavirus management requirements to include, here we go, to include a third weekly test prior to competition and enhanced screening for myocarditis and other heart ailments associated with COVID-19. They made that announcement today. They point out the SEC, one of 3 remaining FBS leagues. So SEC, ACC, Big 12. You also have the AAC, Conference USA, others, all this, that are still going to go. They're still going to do all the PCR tests, but instead of 2 a week, which is I think like the minimum, they're going to do 3 a week. The SEC has this return to activity medical guidance task force. So they are recommending a third rapid diagnostic test each week for the close contact sports. SEC going to coordinate centralized testing for all of its 14 schools through a third-party provider. Also, the task force recommended that the league's cardiac evaluation mandate for confirmed infected student-athletes should include a troponin level blood test, electrocardiogram, echocardiogram, and a medical evaluation by a physician before they return to play.
Have you ever had any of those tests done?
Well, yeah, but I don't know which ones are which.
Cheap. Well, the echo and the cardio, both those grams,
right?
They're not cheap to do, man. So this is just getting, almost cost prohibitive in some instances for the smaller schools. That's probably why ULM and some of these other mid-tier schools have to shut down.
Yeah. No question. Hey, and what about Southern Miss and South Alabama and all this? They're playing in 13 days. Less than 2 weeks now. 2 weeks from last night.
Well, they say that's the big catchphrase, at least for me, during this whole pandemic has been everything's 2 weeks or 14 days.
Yeah, right.
Tonight we got high school football and MAIS.
Mm-hmm.
So will we see an uptick of cases, 2 weeks from today?
Yeah, 2 weeks, yeah. Well, Braun on Facebook watching the live stream, he says, without the spectacle of the crowd, how much fun will it actually be to attend the game? X's and O's are fun, but it'll be as if half of the show is missing without the rowdiness of the fans. Yeah, I think there's some truth to that, but yeah, as far as being there, would it be different? There's no question. There's no question it'd be different. You go, how much fun would it actually be? I still think, think about it. At State or Ole Miss, you got a 60,000 seat stadium. Okay, well, 16,000 people in there spread out throughout the stadium. That ain't very many, no. But that, with the video board and the teams, and you're still going to have crowd noise. It still is going to echo in there.
I'm sure they'll pipe a little bit of crowd noise in.
They'll pipe it in. And look, the TV product ain't going to be that bad, is it? If they play ball and tackle, the TV product's not going to be that bad. It is so incredibly interesting to me as we get closer and closer of going, what is this going to look and sound like? And with you're going, well, with baseball, they've done it. Yeah, I know they have. But look, a lot of baseball games this time of year don't have anybody there anyway. I've been an Atlanta Braves fan my whole life. I promise you, I've watched a bunch of games on television in my lifetime when they were at Atlanta Fulton County Stadium. That place seat 50, 60,000, whatever it is, and they didn't have 2,000 people there. Everybody there could sit behind the dugouts. That's baseball, okay? But football, you've never seen an SEC regular season game with 15,000 people there. You and I have never seen it. Heard it. We don't know. Brand spanking new. So as we get closer and closer, it really is going to be interesting to see kind of how it goes. As we get closer and closer, we, you, me, us, we continue to count down and preview more teams and more teams and more teams. And today is team number 15 of the countdown of 100 teams in 100 days.
100 teams, 100 days.
The countdown is presented by Matt Anderson Properties, a member of National Land Realty. Call Matt Anderson at 408-5155. That's 408-5155.
All right. Thanks to Matt Anderson for helping us present the countdown of 100 teams in 100 days every day on the show. Matt Anderson Properties with National Land Realty. 360-degree interactive drone touring. What kind of land you looking for? Recreational, timberland, building a place, lakefront. Check him out. Or if you're selling, he can help you with that too. Matt Anderson, 408-5155. Team number 15, the Aggies. Here's the Aggie band from Aggie Land. That's all I know on any of these. I do the same thing. Yeah, we got an Aggie theme. We sure do. We flashed back to that Johnny Manziel game. He beat Alabama. Well, they did in Tuscaloosa in 2012. Goodbye to Texas University. That's what it says in the fight song. I don't know if y'all knew that. All right, JB, I'm about to read you the words to this song, the Aggie War Hymn that they march around to out there at Texas A&M.
Right.
Hullabaloo, connect, connect, hullabaloo, connect, connect. Okay. Then it says, goodbye to Texas University. So long to the orange and the white. Good luck to dear old Texas Aggies. They are the boys who show the real old fight. The eyes of Texas are upon you. That is the song they sing so well. And then they scream, sounds like hell. If you've never been to a Texas A&M game at Kyle Field, when that whole band is out there marching around to this, it's pretty doggone incredible. The weaving that they do out in the middle of the field without running into each other, and the whole crowd is into it and swaying back and forth and everything. Yeah, it's different. It really is different.
Tell you what, man, during my days in Dallas doing youth ministry and in Fort Worth in seminary, I met a lot of A&M grads.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing that they just squeal about all the time is their hatred for the orange and the burnt orange.
Yeah.
And then their bonfire, which they build every year, before the last game, which used to be Texas. I think that's one of the great rivalry games that we're missing out on.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah,
I just don't see them being number 15 in the country.
Yeah, that's where they've got them. Well, on the ESPN FPI Football Power Index, and a lot of people high on them. And they do return a lot, and it is kind of with what they brought Jimbo Fisher in to do. They started doing it on the recruiting trail, top 3, top 5 classes. They're still kind of early in that, but they're going to go ahead and expect him to make a jump this year. And he's got a senior quarterback and all this kind of stuff. So, we'll get into that. Some observations, though. Look, in terms of, people always ask me, okay, what's the best stadium in the SEC, or, which one stands out? This is what I say. The one that is by itself, even without people in it, that is the most incredible spectacle of a place, is Kyle Field, this new place they've built out there at Texas A&M. You ain't never seen anything like it. There is nothing else like it. You go, well, they seat 100,000 at Tuscaloosa. Yeah, I know, but it's just, trust me, it's different. If you haven't seen it, it's different. At Tuscaloosa, it's round, Bryant-Denny, it's not completely closed in round like old Atlanta Fulton County Stadium or something like that, but it's very corporate. It's very, very uniform all the way around. It looks the same from every angle. Good seats everywhere, Look, A&M, it is 4 levels of seating straight up on all 4 sides of that field, that rectangle field. You're in the top section, you're hanging out over the field, it feels like. It's when they put us in the press box, we was up at the top of Kyle Field. It's amazing how far we can see out in the distance. They had some jets fly over for the national anthem a couple of years ago when we were out there, or it might have been last year. Man, we could see those things coming from 100 miles away. It's incredible because it's all flat, But the stadium itself, it's just gargantuan. The way they built it, even with 100,000+ in there, it feels twice as big as it is. Sven is saying Baton Rouge. Well, see, here's the thing about Baton Rouge. It's huge. It's the loudest. And they built that one end of that stadium up, so it's really tall. But in terms of what it looks like when you're in there as compared to A&M, it doesn't compare.
It's 2 different looks.
It's two totally different looks.
Been to both of those stadiums. And A&M feels a lot bigger, but it feels closer. If that makes sense.
That's what I'm saying. You can be in it's 4 levels, okay? 4 levels of seating. You can be in the 4th deck of this stadium, and you still don't feel like you're all that far from the field. Whereas, let's say like a Neyland Stadium in Tennessee or something. It really is an incredible place.
Stadium like that, I think, would have to be the Rose Bowl.
Oh, no doubt, yeah.
Because, it's down in a hole, but even if you're at the top of the stadium, you feel like you're almost on top of the field.
Yeah. It's kind of the way they built the old ones. It was with great concern for, what's your vantage point? Is it a crowd-friendly stadium? We've talked about the A&M team before, but this has got to be their year. They have 72 returning lettermen on the team. That's upperclassmen coming back who've played for you in games before. That's a lot. The only SEC team with more is Ole Miss. Most SEC teams are around 45. They got 72 guys who played football for them before, all coming back to play this year. 8 starters on offense, including their quarterback, Kellen Mond. 9 starters on defense for A&M. And then, of course, the revamped schedule, but it didn't really hit them too hard, I don't think. They play in the West, so it's LSU and Alabama every year for them. And really and truly, that's kind of what it comes down to every year for them. Who did they already have? See, they already played Vanderbilt on their schedule this year, so they already had them. And they play South Carolina every year. This year it's on the road. I don't know. But who are they going to beat? If this is going to be their year, right? And a guy like Jimbo Fisher is going to earn that $10 million. Are we saying that LSU is going to win that game at Alabama this year? Are we saying that A&M is going to win that game at home against LSU for sure, as well as that road game at Auburn? Are they going to stack those wins up? See, JB, I think that's what probably you're getting at in the back of your mind about Texas A&M is it's not that nobody's saying they aren't going to be good. Nobody's saying they aren't going to go win a bunch of games. Sure, they may do it. But nobody has faith, okay, that A&M is going to stack the following wins up. They're going to stack all these wins right here. At Alabama.
Loss.
At home against Florida.
Loss.
Okay. At home against LSU.
Win.
On the road at Auburn.
Loss.
Okay, and not to mention, they have back-to-back road trips against South Carolina and Tennessee in early November. They should win both of those. They are more talented than both of those. But what do we know about Texas A&M? Texas A&M loses one of those games. They always do. Oh, by the way, if this schedule goes off without a hitch, they're going to travel to Alabama, who JB says lost. They're going to host Florida, JB says lost. And they're going to back that up with a trip to Starkville where they never play well. Jimbo's first trip there with A&M, what happened? Nick Fitzgerald and them ran them out of the building. Well, I shouldn't say that. They didn't run them out of the building. It wasn't a blowout, but it felt like it because it was the one SEC game that year where State was able to throw the ball.
I see them going 6-4. Possibility of maybe 7-3, but I don't see them being any better than 7-3.
And can you listen? If they go 6-4 with losses to Alabama, Florida, and Auburn, and a surprise loss in there somewhere, even though on a COVID season,
right?
With what they're paying him and the way they're recruiting, people are not going to be happy with him.
I think all coaches will get a pass this year
I do
just
too.
because of the COVID.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, they're not firing anybody, but I think they're still if they lose those games, JB, I still think there's going to be a big portion of the A&M fan base scratch their head and go, wait a minute.
They'll have that bonfire in another way.
Hold on a minute. We're paying him what? Y'all stick around.
There's a lot of noise when it comes to 5G.
Farm Bureau Insurance stands ready to provide financial relief to our communities in this time of crisis. This includes a one-time credit to all personal auto policyholders, a donation of $500,000 to the Mississippi Food Network, and additional payment options for those hit the hardest, all while continuing to service customer claims as well. But this is the time to go above and beyond. These are a few ways we're keeping the Farm Bureau promise. To learn more, talk to your agent or visit us online. Go with the home team.
Every farmer understands their farm can't thrive without some good partners like sun, soil, and rain. And farmers in North Mississippi also rely on another important partner, Mississippi Land Bank, because land and farm financing are Mississippi Land Bank's primary focus. We've grown alongside these farmers' crops for more than 100 years. We understand what a farmer needs, and we know the lay of the land in North Mississippi, and that's where I stand.
Bull. There's a lot of that out there in the wireless world. But C-Spire believes that you deserve a plan that is what it actually says it is. Here's the real deal. The best plan for 1 or 2 lines. Unlimited talk and text with 10 gigabytes of high-speed data. And here's the real deal. $45 per line with autopay and paperless billing. Even without autopay, it's just $50. Now, how's that for the fine print? No bull. That's the real deal. Switch to C-Spire today at cspire.com/real deal. C-Spire, customer inspired. Man, that sounds like summertime in Mississippi, doesn't it? You know what else just screams summertime in Mississippi? Country pleasing sausage from Country Meat Packers in Florence. Check me out. Jalapeno and cheddar. Just got it at Kroger in Tupelo where I live. On grocery store shelves throughout the Southeast. Cut it up, throw it in the frying pan. Put it on a bun. Get some andouille, make some gumbo. It is the best sausage you've ever put in your mouth. Country Pleasin' Sausage, countrypleasin.com. It is made up of hand-picked hams, bacon, and pork loin. That's why it tastes so good. I even got this cool hat from them. Check them out. Go by the butcher shop there in Florence, or order it online, or look for it in grocery stores. Walk up in there and say, Country Pleasin', please.
A lot of people in the equipment world, things kind of go in trends, I guess, if you want to say it. So kind of the first big thing for 2020 that we look at when we start evaluating our business is going to be our turf equipment. That's kind of the first big push, because once everything, the water dries up and the grass starts growing, this is what everybody's looking to get. We carry the new Wright stand-up mower. Doesn't look like much and it's dirty as all get out. But this thing is, and it costs just as much as zero turn. Not a cheap unit at all. I mean, if you go out there and look at that zero turn, this thing right here, I mean, it's got all your components from your big pumps to your commercial engine to your large steel deck. And these guys were the first ones.
Check it out online now at thezone1059.com.
Look at here, we got a text from John Bond, and he brings up a great point. Talking about watching a television broadcast of the college football games, yet the stadiums are going to be largely empty, right? Like, let's just say that first one in Baton Rouge, LSU hosting Mississippi State on the 26th. Do we know, John, what the state of Louisiana mandate is about capacity in the stadiums? Have they said anything down there yet?
The only thing I've seen is everything is pretty much uniform throughout the conference.
Yeah, so 25.
I looked at 25%.
Yeah.
But there's still some high school football teams in Louisiana that aren't practicing and aren't going to play. Very similar to the way some of the things have shaken out in Mississippi.
Mm-hmm.
But that's exactly why they couldn't have this game between Trinity Christian from Texas and MRA at Shreveport, where it was originally set.
Okay.
They said you got to move it to one place or the other.
So if it's 25%, and John Bond, he texted, he said, they might better turn those directional microphones off, if you know what I mean.
I was thinking the same thing a while ago when you were talking about that. With less people, you're going to hear more stuff.
Mm-hmm. Let's just say it like it is. I guarantee you the TV people have discussed that. Now, I don't know that there aren't some of these TV folks that actually think it might be better for their ratings if some of those things slip through the microphone every now and then. But to be safe, they might want to just go ahead and plan on piping in the crowd noise as opposed to... But, I mean, you're going to have officials, right? If it's a college football game, unlike baseball, unlike basketball, every now and then the official's going to have to go 15-yard, personal foul, defense, number 45, 15-yard penalty from the end of the run, first down, right? Or so-and-so team called timeout before the flag was thrown, 30-second timeout, or, whatever it is they do. So we've got to have some audio coming from the game for it to work. John's right. They better be really careful when that mic is hot over there in Tuscaloosa. We're going to hear all kinds of stuff that we hadn't heard before on TV, that is.
That's what you're going to hear.
That beep. That's all it is. It's like watching a Gordon Ramsay show, isn't it? I mean, the audio guy's got the easiest job in the world.
Either that or listening to Bobby Knight.
Right. 3/4 of the show is beep. Fleet Feet Pete says, these conferences, the Pac-12, Big Ten, etc., that move to the spring, will they still play baseball, and how will this affect the College World Series? Well, Pete, look, I have a hard time going down that road of saying, well, okay, this is how they would do it with baseball on campus, because I don't believe they are playing football seasons in the spring. I don't believe it. There's just no scenario that any of them can come up with. And I'm sorry to my friends in the SWAC, but to y'all too. Same thing for you. There's just no feasible schedule that you can come up with for full contact college football that makes sense to do it in the spring and then turn around and do it 5 months later. Why are we even considering that? It's not gonna happen. The only way is if you say we're not playing in the fall. Well, they're not going to do that. They're not going to say they're not playing in the fall of 2021. They definitely are if they can, right? So the only way they're playing in the fall is if they are not playing a full season in the spring. You're just not, in today's world, taking those 85 to 100 college athletes, putting them through practice and full contact games and playing 10 games or whatever, or 12 in some spring season, getting it in January, February, March, or April, or whatever it is, and then having this abbreviated cut in half off season and turn around and do it all over again in the fall. They are not going to do it. And frankly, it's us, it's me and you and all of us that ought to be ashamed that we would be fed that line from the Big Ten and actually believe it. Anybody on ESPN getting paid a paycheck to be an analyst who would actually get on air and waste everybody's time discussing a spring season ought to be ashamed of themselves, because it ain't happening, and they know it. Not gonna do it. Jason in Flagstaff said on the Country Pleasing text line. He said, I got to get out and mow the yard before the monsoon starts. There are service trucks outside. Oh, he said service sucks outside. Here's a quick shot of a rain shaft coming at us. How about that? I see the sunset, but I don't see the rain shaft. Thanks for the picture anyway, out in
Maybe that
Arizona.
was a typo. Maybe it should be rain shower.
Maybe
I've never heard of a rain shaft. I've heard of getting shafted by the rain.
Yeah. The text thing can
maybe
really
he'll have
throw you
good
off.
service outside, and he can tell us what he meant.
Yeah, maybe so. White Denzel says, talking about A&M, sitting that far up seems like the players would look like ants on the field. White Denzel, I mean, they're a long ways off. They really do. It's a different vantage point of the game for sure, you know, when you're that high up in a stadium somewhere. Which I think it's like anything else. You kind of, you know, adapt, get used to that viewpoint and get to where you like it. But, you know, sitting up in the nosebleeds, there's some seats in some of these stadiums, man, where you better not be afraid of heights or you ain't going to enjoy it. Promise you. Gator Nation says, hey, Matt, I heard a former Spurrier assistant say one time, playing at LSU a night game, they were doing their walkthrough the day before. Everybody was nervous and scared. He said, Spurrier said, what's wrong with you guys? It's just 100 yards with some grass around it. You got to love Spurrier. Yeah, I guess. I mean, the walkthrough thing, I don't know. I've always kind of felt like maybe it was a little overplayed and a little overstated about, you know, the effect on the opposing team when they have to play on the road in front of the other fans and all that kind of stuff. Because I think most ball players, once you get in between the lines and you're out there with your other 10 buddies and you're about to run a play, or it's like all that stuff goes away anyway. I think a lot of that for the team stuff is overplayed. Even a lot of places, the noise aspect, it's loud, it's tough, but some people make a real big deal out of it. Anyway, Gatorman said, Paul Lacoste said the Swamp was the loudest one that he played in when he was at State. He said the Swamp is cool, place just as loud as Tiger Stadium and different look. Yeah, I've never been there. Never been to the Swamp. Gatorman, would love to go. Never been, never had the chance. the last chance I had to go to the Swamp would have been when State was playing there at Florida in 2010. Is that right? Yeah. At Florida 2010. That would have been the last opportunity I would have had to go. But I didn't. I was on the radio crew. I just didn't make the trip for pregame, postgame. But in 4 years, just again, to talk about, a fouled up scheduling model, it's historical for the SEC. It's the one thing they get wrong. They get everything else right. But historically, back when it was an 11-game schedule, back before A&M and Missouri were in the league, after they took Arkansas, South Carolina, and then even modern day now, every schedule model they've ever done has been fouled up. And one little teeny tiny example would be how somebody like me could be on a team for 5 years, never played Florida, home or away. Have been a part of a radio crew now and let's exclude those first two since I had the chance. So I've been on a crew, and now for the last 9 years, never been to Florida. So we're at basically, what are we? We're at basically almost 15 years that I've been attached to an SEC team somehow, some way, and jumping on the airplane with them here and there. Never been to Florida. Fouled up, man. Scheduling model is fouled up.
Maybe this is the explosion that lights the fire underneath them to change the scheduling.
I hope so.
And
I
don't
think a lot of people
you should have one permanent opponent anyway.
No, you shouldn't.
I think that's ridiculous.
But they disagree, JB. Here's the thing.
What are they trying to manufacture, rivalries?
Well, that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to manufacture rivalries, but they're doing it because of Alabama and Auburn. Period. End of story. Those two schools. It's because of them. It's because Auburn has this thing going with Georgia in their close proximity, right? So Auburn wants what they want, and that is they want to play Georgia every year. We want this rivalry. See, Auburn has a rivalry with Georgia. So the league's like, we got to play it every year. Cross division. Alabama has a third Saturday in October with Tennessee. Got to play it. Got to play it. Cross division. So, but if we have to play it every year, cross division games for Alabama and Auburn, then we've got to do it for everybody else too. So those two schools and their fan bases and their connection with the SEC, it holds the rest of the conference hostage. And so the scheduling model is just, and I really do agree, JB, and majority of people also agree with you. Hopefully this is the key that opens that door to getting a new, better scheduling model going forward. But, we'll just hope. Stick around.
There's a lot of noise when it comes to 5G.
We're 5G ready.
Campuses are empty. The arenas are silent. For now. People here today are few and far between. But soon, a crowd will show up. It's not a matter of if football will be played here. It's a matter of when. I'll be there. I'm sure you will be too. I'll see you there. It won't be long now. you imagine? The return of the crowds to see the return of the team. What a day that will be. And it will be soon.
Farm Bureau Insurance stands ready to provide financial relief to our communities in this time of crisis. This includes a one-time credit to all personal auto policyholders, a donation of $500,000 to the Mississippi Food Network, and additional payment options for those hit the hardest, all while continuing to service customer claims as well. But this is the time to go above and beyond. These are a few ways we're keeping the Farm Bureau promise. To learn more, talk to your agent or visit us online. Go with the home team.
Every farmer understands their farm can't thrive without some good partners like sun, soil, and rain. And farmers in North Mississippi also rely on another important partner, Mississippi Land Bank, because land and farm financing are Mississippi Land Bank's primary focus. We've grown alongside these farmers' crops for more than 100 years. We understand what a farmer needs, and we know the lay of the land in North Mississippi, and that's where I stand.
Bull. There's a lot of that out there in the wireless world. But C Spire believes that you deserve a plan that is what it actually says it is. Here's the real deal. The best plan for 1 or 2 lines. Unlimited talk and text with 10 gigabytes of high-speed data. And here's the real deal. $45 per line with auto pay and paperless billing. Even without auto pay, it's just $50. Now, how's that for the fine print? No bull. That's the real deal. Switch to C Spire today at cspire.com/real deal. C Spire.
Come and keep your radio turned on to ESPN 105.9, The Zone.
Hey, hey. Yeah, how about that picture? True Maroon sent us a picture as he listens out riding around today. And they said, this is a perfect picture of Mississippi right here. And yeah, it's a long straight stretch of highway or of road here, and the road is wet. And you can see down the picture, there's this distinct line of thunderstorm where it's dark and rain and then immediately sunshine. So like the road is raining on one side and bright sunshine and hot on the other. And that's
right by, that's on Bailey Avenue and Woodrow Wilson. Facing the, you can see the medical mall to your left.
Yeah, I see that.
Straight ahead is UMMC, Blair Batson.
Hey, True
Off in
Maroon,
the distance.
we figured out where you are, man.
Yeah.
You nailed it.
Over by my old stomping grounds where I used to serve.
Yeah. Very cool. Y'all text us, JB and I. We have a few more minutes with you left here. Text me on the Country Pleasing text line 885-ESPN, 601-885-ESPN, or call me on the Davini phone, 995-1059, 601 number, 995-1059. On this day, 1987, number 3 in your program, number 1 in your heart, Dale Murphy for the Atlanta Braves hit his 300th career home run.
3-2 Atlanta, 2 men out in the 6th. High and deep to right field. This could be number 300, and it is for Dale Murphy.
All right, let's take another look at number 300. Kind of a typical home run by Murphy, going toward right center field. Harper was back there, a former teammate, to watch it going over with plenty to spare. And everybody on their feet here now. They want a... There it is. Away from Murphy, curtain call, and he does it. 300 Major League homers.
300, I don't know what he finished with. I think maybe 350 something as far as what he finished with. I think, and that was way on up there. He was approaching that particular home run in 87 because it's August 21st. It was late in the year. He was approaching 40 home runs that year. I don't know if he got 40, but he was getting close to it. Dale Murphy. Like every kid in Alabama, growing up, wanted to wear number 3 because that's what Dale Murphy wore.
If you were going to be like Dale Murphy, the one thing you could not wear if you played baseball.
Batting gloves. Batting gloves.
You're exactly right.
He didn't need
I
them.
never saw him wear a pair. Or one.
Right. And I never heard and really understood all the details of his story, but I just remember people saying that it was interesting. He came up initially as a catcher, or was maybe drafted as a catcher and was a catcher in the minors for a while, and then they turned him into a big-time outfielder, center fielder for a long time, and then right field?
Yeah, if I remember the story right, he couldn't make the throw from behind the plate to second base.
Yeah.
He kept throwing it over the second baseman or shortstop.
Right, he kept sailing it. Yeah. And I think it's because he was such a nice guy, he wanted to make sure he avoided the pitcher. Just threw it out in center field.
Unlike the guy for the Phillies, right?
Oh, no, yeah, I saw that.
Ouch!
He took one in the wrong place. In the wrong place. Special K, Country Please in text. He says, I agree with you, Matt, on the scheduling being messed up. As an Ole Miss fan, I want to see them play Georgia. Look, that's what we want to see. It's what fans in the league want to see. It's what everybody has wanted to see for years. Okay, and if we go back, right, somewhere, early 2000s when they made the transition from 11 games to 12? It used to be 11 games. You played every year, 11 games. And so it was 8. Once Arkansas and South Carolina came in the league, they did the permanent cross-division thing. You play Kentucky every year if you're State. You play Vandy every year if you're Ole Miss. And I think proponents of that, Special K, would probably look at me and go, well, Matt, you don't understand all of it. Part of it is by putting Ole Miss and Vandy together every year, it gives somebody in that rivalry, play each other every year, a chance to get a win, and we do that across the league, and now we got more teams that are bowl eligible and this kind of thing. Okay, but mid to late 90s, you had what? 16 bowl games? 17? Early 2000s, it crept up there, 20-something. We're 20 years later, y'all, and we got nearly 50 bowl games. Okay? And I get it. Practice time. I get it. We need the practice time. Okay? Well, we need the practice time. We do. But we're also graduating high school players earlier. We now have a December signing period. We now are bringing every new signee onto campus in June. Back when there were 16 bowl games in the mid-90s, new players didn't even report to campus until August. Nobody came early. So everybody screams about, the practice time. How much do you practice? 2 weeks for a bowl game? 2 weeks. We're gonna base all these decisions and about how important the bowls are now that we have 50 of them. We're sending teams with losing records every year to quote-unquote bowl games. So we're going to base decisions on keeping a scheduling model because of bowl games? They're meaningless. They have been rendered meaningless, trust me, because of other things we are doing, like I just said. The practices for bowl games, those things have been rendered meaningless. It used to be a big deal. It's not anymore. It's not. So you can't base any of this on the same arguments anymore. The cheese has moved. Who moved my cheese? Well, it moved on you. And so you got a 12-game schedule now. Other conferences are playing more conference games. And in the SEC, what do the fans want? What do the players want? What do the coaches want? What do the schools want? What does television want? They want you to play more SEC games. They want you to drop this stupid cross-division rival thing where you're playing somebody from the other division, forcing it down everybody's throat. Okay? You want to have some stick? Maybe other teams rotate every year, but maybe there are some teams that rotate every 2 years. You could do some of those things. They could figure it out. But as it stands right now, Special K, the reason you as an Ole Miss fan don't play Georgia, but, every blue moon, you play them every 6 or 7 years. You go to their place once every 12 years. It's not even like being in the same conference. I mean, at Ole Miss, you're going to play Memphis way more often and regularly than you are Georgia. You might as well be in a conference with Memphis. You see them more often. You're more dependent on them and they you than Georgia is. It's crazy. And again, what does it all go back to? What is the reason? Y'all, the reason is Alabama versus Tennessee and Auburn versus Georgia. And I'm telling you, I don't really know how interested in those ultimately Tennessee and Georgia are. I mean, they're kind of interested. The key is that some old, wealthy, and powerful alumni at those schools are interested in those matchups. So when they've done this thing, we go, well, okay, look, we got these new teams. We're going to start rotating teams in the other division. But Alabama's got to play Tennessee every year, even though they're in opposite divisions. So how are we going to do this? And Auburn's like, Auburn, Georgia is the oldest rivalry in the country. Okay, Auburn's got to play Georgia every year because cross division. So what are we going to do? If we do it with them, we got to do it with everybody else. Wouldn't be fair either way. Well, I tell you what, let's just call it the cross division permanent rival. And we'll put Kentucky on State's schedule, and we'll tell them they're a rival. And we'll put Vandy on Ole Miss's schedule every year. That'll help them. Ole Miss can beat them, get some wins every year. State to get some wins beating Kentucky or vice versa. Let's just see. Well, what are we going to do with South Carolina? I don't know. Have them play A&M. But they're not a rival. Who cares? They're not a rival. Just have them play each other every year. Shove it down their throat. And that's why you have the model that you've had. All right, more Bully. You're going to wrap up the week with us on the Davini Equipment phone line. It'll take you hopefully about 30 seconds because the music's going to start. So hit me up.
Yep.
What's up?
Just a question. I kind of got in on the tail end of this, but I think I get the gist of what you're talking about. But my question to you is to think about, I want to get your opinion on, is doesn't the SEC and the Big Ten and just the Power Fives have to play these smaller teams to keep those teams alive? Because of the big payouts they get?
Yeah, there's an element of that.
Something to think about.
There's an element of that.
All right, man,
but thank you, more Bully. And we can talk about it Monday. But since the SEC mandated one of their non-conference had to be a Power Five, you could get rid of that and still schedule 2 smaller opponents every year and pay them. So you're just paying 2 instead of 3. That's better for the SEC also. There's literally no way it doesn't make sense to play 10 conference games every year and 2 non-conferences and pay whoever to come in there for those other 2 games. There's literally no reason that doesn't make any sense. And get rid of this permanent cross-division stuff, and now problem solved, and we move on to something else. Y'all have a great weekend. See you Monday. Hey, by the way, no third hour coming up. I got some stuff to attend to. See y'all Monday.